Good day, everyone. I'm Loraine, and if you'll just ask, I just lighted a Palo Santo. This why there's a smoke effect, but I think I should transfer it to this part. Palo Santo actually is being used in different religions ever since time immemorial, actually as an incense for cleansing. So I think it's a good way to start this video blog of mine. So as I was saying earlier, I am Loraine, and this is the first time I am making a video blog. I am not techie. I'm just using my phone with this, so please bear with me. I'm a bit nervous. Seriously, I'm a bit nervous with the recording, so please bear with me as I've mentioned. So this started actually, among other things, with a suggestion from a former office mate. This former office mate actually commented on one of my Instagram stories and Facebook stories, telling me that next time should be a video blog because it would be a shame if those stories that I have been posting over Instagram and Facebook will just not be readily available or just be available for a limited time. So I told him that I would look into it, and this is me actually heeding his suggestion among other things. So thank you for that suggestion. You know who you are. And going back to this video blog, I'm calling this video blog the story of the ever unfolding rose. But this story of why is it called that way maybe would be better reserved for another video. For this video, I would just like to introduce myself and this video blog, why I am starting this one. And just to show you, I even prepared an outline, meaning I would not veer away, or at least I have a structure on what to tell you on the camera, on the video. And I'm not yet used to taking a video of myself, so it's either I look at the camera directly or here when you're taking a selfie, which I keep on forgetting, so please also bear with me regarding that. So going back on the video blog, I was looking for an outlet recently for creativity and self-expression. In particular, I actually love sharing stories or sharing things, what I learned specifically, especially if it can help other people. I've never been that stingy with what I learned actually, and people who knows me know that. And with this video blog, I hope that whatever that I have been learning about spirituality and self-love, which are actually intertwined and I would reserve actually for another episode or another video. Whatever I learn about spirituality and self-love can also benefit them in some way, somehow, some form. So maybe I will start with my journey starting when I was a child. So while I was a child, actually, I was going to church twice a week. Imagine, from Mondays to Fridays, we have schooling. And then on Saturdays, my maternal grandmother would actually bring me with her when she goes to an Adventist church. And in this Adventist church, they are more traditional in a sense that they have you have to wear veils when you go there, and they're strict in the interpretation of the Bible even, and in the study thereof. Not that I'm saying that the other religions are not strict, but at least for 5 years old, 6 years old like me, at that time, I'm already made to memorize certain Bible verses. And then come Sunday, the next day, my parents would now bring me to a Sunday Catholic Mass. I don't think they were able to imagine the inadvertently the confusion that it would bring to me as a child then if you are exposing me in that malleable age to two religions. So I had lots of question marks in my head, and when I address it to my frics to my Adventist church teacher, they would actually contradict what the Catholic teachers, because I went to Catholic school from kindergarten until college. So they would contradict each other, even from, for example, venerations, having statues in church for the Catholic would be frowned upon by other religion, stating that it's idolatry and forbidden by the Ten Commandments, while the Catholic themselves would say that this is just a veneration of loved ones, similar to having a picture of your family at your wallet. Or there's also a contradiction in the worship of Mother Mary for Catholics and for other Christian sects, for example. But without going into details, imagine the confusion that I had as a child, but I don't know which religion is actually right or wrong. And I really grew up confused about which religion to adhere to. And that confusion actually followed me into college, where there's a bigger world actually out there for all of us when you go to universities. So while I was in college, it was not a surprise that I love my social sciences class. And among those classes that I love are my philosophy classes. And in one particular class, I had this professor who's a fan of Nietzsche. And he would love spending several sessions on Nietzsche and assign us different works of Nietzsche to critic. And he was impressed with an essay that I wrote about, if I recall correctly, about the Uberman theory of Nietzsche. So, he was so impressed, he gave me a gift. He gave me a copy of Nietzsche's Antichrist. So imagine. Like, I was surprised, like, why did my professor give this to me? And I know if there's one thing both my maternal grandmother and my mother, who have different religions, then would agree, they would be both appalled by the book, especially with the title. So I went home not knowing where to hide the book, but in the same time interested in reading the book on what it will say. It was no surprise that while I was in college, actually, I became agnostic. And when we say agnostic, that's different from being an atheist. You can Google the concept. So, my belief on religion was suspended, but I still believe that there is a God. If I can look at it from the point of view of what I learned from my philosophy class, a bit of utilitarianism in a way, that if my belief in God empowers me to become better, to become stronger, even if I'm deluding myself, the outcome is not the most, isn't the outcome the most important of all, if that's the case? So with that, I still continued actually with that kind of agnostic belief, and at the same time, college really is an eye-opener for most people, because you realize there's a bigger world out there. I mean, starting from your high school. And I met some org mates who are actually in the student publication org that I joined in, and they brought in tarot cards. Before, we used to play this card game called Tailcraft, where they have a card in different pile. There's a pile for what kind of plot. There's a pile for what kind of characters, and then what kind of device, what kind of place or venue. And then you'll pick a card, and then you'll get to compare your story, and there will be judges which story will be better. With that in mind, someone brought tarot card deck on our org room, and actually described it as also as a means similar to tailcraft. You just tell a story. The different cards have different themes, different symbolism, and then depending on the arrangement of the card, similar to tailcraft, you can tell a story. And me, I love a good story. I love a good story. I love stories in general. So tarot cards for me then, well, it was also a means for me to tell a good story. Well, aside from me getting tarot readings then, since remember I was agnostic, I like reading tarot. I like getting tarot card readings. Just before I delve deeper into tarot cards as a means for creativity for me, while I was in college, I was also getting tarot readings back then. And those tarot readings, again, employing some utilitarianism point of view, or what is beneficial for me, I will take it. Meaning, while I was getting tarot card readings, of course, normally there are good and bad things that they will tell to you. So for the good things, for me, what they tell in the cards are just possibilities, mostly in your current current place, current situation, the most likely to happen. So possibilities, good and bad. So for those good possibilities, I can make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. I can make it happen because the possibility is there. Now for those bad things that can happen, I can avoid it. So you take what's useful for you and leave what's not. That's how I viewed tarot cards reading then. So yes, I've been getting tarot cards reading then. And then when an org mate brought along a tarot deck, it became also a means for me to tell a story. And of course, I got my own tarot deck. And it was really surprising because for me, I was just playing a game in a way. I was trying to tell a story based from the symbolism of the cards as I know it. And there are instances that I was really surprised or even shocked by the reactions of people that I read for. And this is just for free. These are some of my basically org mates, schoolmates even. I was really surprised with the result. And then until at one point, if you will recall, at least for those who have read my previous Instagram and Facebook posts, I had a sleepover with the house of my high school best friend at that time. When I believe I remembered laying out the cards in her bed when she went out to get something, and I wanted to surprise her with the tarot cards and tell her the stories of how I've used it to tell stories to other people. So imagine there's a bed, I lay down the tarot deck, and then she opens the door to her room to come back in, and she didn't enter the threshold, but she grabbed a Bible from a nearby stand and then tells me, Loraine, don't get scared, please. But I think there's someone holding your hand while you are arranging the tarot cards. Imagine what's our typical reaction when they tell you not to get scared over some kind of those things. Of course, I got really scared, as in I jumped out of the bed and I ran into her. And I hid behind her because she was holding a Bible, and I was telling her, "Where is it? Where is the one holding my hand?" So she took a while to calm me down, and she was telling me at that time that she saw someone holding my hand. I don't know which hand at that time, and there was supposed to be a portal somehow that's open above my head. But she was honest because that's why she was calm. She was calm at that time because she was telling me she cannot tell if the one holding my hand is good or bad, but there is someone, something. So imagine me at that moment in time with all the horror stories running, horror movies running into my head. I gave the deck to my best friend and told her she can dispose of it however she can too, and I'm scared to hold one again. And I promised her that I will not actually hold one. And that actually brought me to a specific teaching, at least by the Catholic and the Adventist church that I've been going to while I was while I was a child. Even that there are sins of the flesh and sins of the spirit. They are teaching already while I was a child. I had that sort of teaching already. So it came into head at that point that those sins of the spirit are those are that has something to do with spirituality. So tarot cards in general. So in my head, is that why the Catholics or even the Christians are very strict about tarot cards, because they are considered as sins against the spirit? And for the Adventists, then, from what I learned in Adventist church when I was a child, there seems to be unforgivable sins. In Filipino, they call it kasalanang walang kapatawaran in Filipino. So imagine the gravity of that moment when it registered to me. Am I committing a sin because of me delving into tarot cards? And the weight of the words that was imprinted to me as a child by both religion was really heavy. So that's why I veered away from ever owning a tarot deck by that time. And as I've mentioned, I gave the tarot deck back to my best friend and told her to dispose of it and promised her not or never to touch one again. So with that, after college, I went to law school. And law school is actually a different kind of a pressure cooker. Because as early as you go in there, which I understand is really relevant, that a person's life, liberty, or property depends on you as their counsel. So just one wrong move procedurally, like you forget to file something, can actually land your client in jail and have them lose their liberty. So it's really important for you to take your studies that seriously. The pressure is there for you to defend your client, to protect your client. So with that, and imagine an agnostic going to law school where things out of control and you don't know where to anchor yourself onto. So what I did, I kind of find a loophole out of my promise. I've been still getting tarot readings actually, but I was telling myself, I promise I will not own a tarot deck. But I didn't say I won't get tarot readings. Imagine the loophole that I've been telling myself back then. But at the same time, I feel that even though my religious belief was suspended, I became closer to God in a way because you just want something to anchor yourself onto, especially if you feel things are really out of control for sanity's sake at that time. And in fact, when I was having bar review, I even delved into astrology deeper. Another loophole from tarot readings. I'm really skirting around the circle at that time. But I had a turning point back in 2015 when I remember I had this conversation with a friend of mine. It was after one of our all-nighter study out session. Somehow he told me that Lore, one of my nicknames then, when you look outside and saw a billboard and somehow the message resonated with you, somehow it touched your heart, it touched you. He told me that that could be God speaking to me. With that, actually, it slowly but surely transformed my relationship with God moving forward. Imagine just looking at the billboard and God is speaking to you. When I go watch a television, the character says something. Somehow, that phrase touched me. That could be God speaking to me. And not just that, when you go downstairs, for example, then the lobby guard greets you and tells you something. And somehow, at the back of your, not at the back of your, you feel it in your heart that it could be God speaking to you. It really changed not only my relationship with God, but with how I see everyone else. Because God can use everyone to speak to you. Everyone is His children. Not everyone is above one or below one. And the fact is, it made me more humble in a sense that you can learn from anyone. You cannot just dismiss anyone because of their status in life. What if God uses them to send a message to you? You didn't hear it because you're not listening, in a way. But for me, it opened my mind further to the possibilities of how God can manifest in our lives. And not just that, actually. Imagine if God can speak to me, to everyone, to any, through different things, media, because He's everywhere. And I would just like to point out that God is not something that you can see concretely. Like your emotions. You can see happiness, you can't see depression, but you can see manifestations of happiness, manifestations of emotions, manifestation, for example, of depressions. So God can manifest through different things, different people, different persons, different circumstances. He's omniscient, omnipresent. Did I use the correct term? So with that concept, actually, I flipped it over. If I can hear from God anywhere, anyone, can I not talk to God anytime, anywhere as well? Because He can read our minds. He can know our thoughts. And when we just say our thoughts out loud, and when we say what we want to say, even when we're alone, we just want to pray it out loud. It's us becoming honest, admitting to ourselves and inadvertently to God. Being honest with God when you admit it to yourself, and not just saying out loud, but in your head. That was a different way of me relating to God. I can talk to Him anywhere, anytime. Meaning, as a Catholic and an Adventist then, it was so mechanical for me to just pray the I mean, for the Catholics to pray the rosary, Hail Marys, Our Fathers. In fact, we used to pray it every day in my previous high school. So it becomes mechanical, like something that you memorize, something that does not come from your heart. So it's not sincere. And for me, a prayer is a way to talk to God. So when I talk to God in my head or out loud when I'm alone, of course, because what will my neighbors, for example, say when they see me talking to myself out loud? But anyway, you get my point. If I talk to God, for example, in my head, just a statement, Lord, I don't like this. That's a prayer. Because you talk to Him. And actually, for me, at that time, the most authentic, the most sincere prayers are those that come from the heart. And those that come from the heart are the ones heard strongest in the heavens by God. So imagine, while you are angry, Lord, I'm angry because this happened. Lord, why? Can you tell me? God is hearing you loud and clear at the heavens because that is sincere. At the moment of your anger, you are telling it out loud. You are admitting it to Him. Imagine that. Or, for example, when there is something that makes you really happy, like you got your extra bonus. Lord, oh my God, thank you. When you say it into your head, at that moment in time when you received your bonus, that's already a prayer. And that's you being authentic because you are being honest with yourself, with what you are feeling. And remember, the strongest prayers heard in the heavens are those heartfelt, the sincerest ones, the most truthful. Those are the prayers that will actually, I forgot the term, but I would like to say that would really, in Tagalog, I lost my train of thought there. But what I am trying to say is, it would just be revibrate, it would be heard all over the heavens if it's the most sincere. At least you have a direct line to God because your prayer is so sincere, so truthful, it's so powerful. And when I say prayer, it's just what? It's just a sentence in your head, like right now, when I'm talking like this to the video that Lord is so great. It's already a prayer outside going up. Or even in my head, Lord, ang traffic in Filipino. That's actually how I revolutionize in a way how I pray. Meaning, since I can talk to God anytime, anywhere, that sounded like an advertisement, I talk to Him like how I would talk to a family member in my most authentic form. Because when I do it mechanically, Our Father, there's nothing wrong with that though. But for me, it's hard to feel the sincerity because it's so formal. Like there's a barrier between me and my God. And I consider God as my Father. So I call Him my Father, my Lord, my Father. So for example, going to the office, there's traffic. Lord, there's traffic. Oh my God. Not saying he's used to me with that, but it's not that petty. Lord, what's happening? Can I just get to this and that? Can please give me patience to bear with this? That's already a prayer. Or even the more funny ones, while rushing to work, while brushing my teeth, going to the shower, and I'm telling him, Lord, can we not talk? And I swear, at the back of my head, in my heart, I can hear his reply. And his reply was, who started the conversation while you are in shower? Seriously. And God is as you are with Him. Since I treat God as I would treat my parents, as how I treat my father, a parent in general, or a loved one. That's how I felt him treating me. So I could be somehow irreverent, but he'll just laugh it off because it's me being honest with him. Remember, being honest with him. Like, not all the formalities. Like, when I'm angry, I tell him. When I'm happy, I tell him. When I'm joking. Like, when, for example, I did something bad and then I tripped. I told him, Lord, the karma is so fast. And then I laugh it off. And he also, I believe he laughs it off. I know he laughs it off. But something like that. So with that kind of belief, not, I believe that for me at the end of the day, regardless of what religion I really believe, what religion I adhere to, the most important thing at the end of the day is how is my personal relationship with God. I believe that God won't judge me based on my religion, that you won't be admitted to my heaven because you're Adventist, because you're Catholic. But what He'll be asking me at the end of the day is, how is your personal relationship with me? So with that, imagine how I personalized my relationship with God ever since, to the point that we even talk while I'm at the comfort room. That personal. And he always replies back, I can feel it in my heart. Who started the conversation? And I told him, Lord, I am this way because you created me this way. And we'll just laugh it off. That one. So with that, more honest, more authentic, and more fun actually relationship that I am having with the Lord our Father, recently I was actually called, finally, it's time, into another view, another belief system altogether. I was at a threshold then because at that point in time, just few months before, I was really delving deeper, not only into crystals or getting my tarot readings elsewhere, but I was also in astrology. And I love astrology, not just the sun sign that you see in the horoscope, please. That's what I used to believe also before. But the complexity is not just the moon sign, the rising sign, the aspects between different planets. It can get really, really in depth, even inclusive for some people in a way. Meaning, well, for astrology, I can tell, we can know that your chart can tell you, for example, what's your childhood is about, what emotional blockage you can be having, what are your strengths or weaknesses, for example. It can be a tool for introspection, for you to get to know yourself better, for you to be more honest with yourself. And actually, astrology also made me view people at a higher perspective, because when they act in a certain way that doesn't jive or doesn't somehow conform to what I believe in, when then I look at their astrology chart, somehow, oh, okay, so they're acting this way because they're coming from this scenario, from this situation. So in a way, astrology is helping me look at people at a higher perspective, be more tolerant and more forgiving of them, especially if they committed something, for example, against me. And I was telling God in one of those one-on-one funny conversations. It's not funny all the time, mind you, but I like to speak to him like I'm a wise, what's the proper term? But anyway, I'm veering away. But imagine me. I can be sarcastic most of the time. I'm being corrected. Imagine the conversation that we're having. So anyway, so I was telling the Lord our Father, this recent months, if astrology can help me become more tolerant, more forgiving, become a better person towards others, why can I not use tarot cards the same way? And then an idea hit me, and I sincerely believe that this idea, any good ideas actually, where else does it come from? Tarot card is just a tool. Remember, I'll go back to the story of what my best friend said. She said that the hand holding mine and the portal supposedly opening above me, she cannot tell if it's good or bad. So when I remember that, and then comparing it with astrology, it clicked inside my head that tarot cards, similar with astrology, is just a tool. It's just a tool, like money, like a knife even. It depends on the hearts of the people who wields those tools. So if you have money, if you're a good person, what will you do? If you're a bad person, what will you do? Same with a knife. If you're a good person, what will you do if you have it in your hand? And if you're a bad person, what will you do with the knife? So applying those with tarot cards, what can I do now if it's something that I can use to help other people, to help myself become a better person? And I told the Lord our Father that I know He loves me very much, and in whatever I do, He'll pull me back. He'll help me, call me back if I do something that is not in alignment with what He wants me to do. So I took that leap of faith and delved deeper into spirituality and got my own tarot cards again for the first time after more than 10 years. And that actually started my journey of spirituality and self-love. And I am starting this video blog to share with you what I have been learning so far in this journey of self-love and spirituality. So with that, I hope I helped you with my first video blog. And if you have any suggestions to me on how to improve my content, for example, or if you want to send a comment, anything, feel free. I just want to receive feedback, especially if it can help me improve. So with that, thank you and goodbye until the next one.